Was you.
Premier Designs is different and unique.
We believe in the God who is able.
Premier Designs is meant to be different.
Premier is founded on biblical principles.
Biblical principles.
Going into the homes of America with hope in our heart and a smile on our face.
God's standard is high. Honesty, integrity, and fairness.
Honor God.
To honor God.
Never to measure our success by the sales and profit.
Our core values are unchangeable.
God didn't take time to make a nobody.
To serve people. Committed to keep on serving.
Premier is a direct service company.
Remember to keep it personal and enrich every life we touch.
Every life we touch.
These words serve as a reminder that Premier Designs is no ordinary company. Its heritage is the story of God's designed plan, unfolding in the lives of founders Joan and Andy Horner. With every event, from Andy's poor childhood in Belfast, Ireland, to their immigrating to America in pursuit of a dream, Joan and Andy gained the experience, knowledge, and passion that led them to start this new kind of company. From the beginning, they committed to build on a solid foundation of biblical principles, while operating with the simple philosophy and purpose of honoring God, serving people, and enriching every life we touch. Through the years, the message and example have not wavered. Today, Premier Designs is recognized as one of the most respected companies in the direct selling industry, but more important, serves as a beacon of hope for people all around the world. A heritage is defined as something of great value that is passed down from generation to generation. The treasured words of Joan and Andy Horner contain the key to Premier's unique difference and echo with a reminder to all who are part of the Premier family that this heritage, our heritage, is a heritage to remember.
The original verse upon which Premier was founded is Proverbs 16:11. The Lord demands fairness in every business deal. He sets the standard, we don't. It is God who established this principle. We believed then in 1985, as we do now in 2010, that for a business to be successful and a blessing to others, that business must be established on the principles that God has laid down.
The very thing that has built Premier Design, and it's not built on the Horners, that's not the rock you could place it on. It's not built on the programs, that's not the rock you could place your life on. It's not built on anything, but it's built on the principles that are found in the Word of God. And I promise you, and I'll make you promises, that you can build your life on that. And that is a solid rock.
One of our purposes is to honor God. The Lord is in our business. We believe He raised up Premier Designs for such a time as this.
As you know, the Bible is the foundation of this company. And I tell you, it's a book that is always up to date, and no matter what generation. 1,000 years ago it was true. 50 years ago it's true. Today it is true. It has never, never, never changed.
Well, one of the commitments of my life is that living for God needs to take place not just in Sunday morning in beautiful buildings and what we call the ritual of a Sunday morning church, but it really needs to happen out in the marketplace. And I think that Andy and Joan Horner are the preeminent teacher that really drove that home in my life. I came to Dallas Seminary with my wife Mary in 1971, and we were just starting our career there, you know, learning theology and learning all the highfalutin biblical languages and all that. And Andy and Joan adopted us. We would house sit for them when they went to Cowboy games. But it began a relationship where we became very, very close friends. And we would eat meals together. And Andy and Joan would share about how you bring the principles of Scripture, like Proverbs, for example, is filled with, these are the values more valuable than money. This is the way that you need to have just balances, for example. A lot of the verses that Joan chose, our Premier Design verses. They would talk to us about those things for years. So it wasn't any surprise when they went over how Premier would be founded that it would be built on those biblical principles. Andy and Joan imbibed, they internalized those kind of principles, beginning in Genesis all the way through to the book of Revelation. And Andy and Joan would put the Bible at the center of our company in, his mom's Bible, and then powerful museum pieces. But it wasn't just a museum piece for them. They lived it, and lived it out in their hands and their feet. And that has radically influenced Premier.
Coming from the secular business community, and I worked for 2 major corporations and had some very responsible positions, the focus always was, you better make your quota, you better sell, the bottom line is important. Sometimes even to cut corners, maybe you didn't tell the whole truth to be able to sell something. But then as I was involved with Premier, it was totally different, because we were running this company. The way Andy and Joan talked about it every day was on biblical principles of honesty, integrity, tell the truth. And the focus, sure, we need to earn a profit to stay in business. And we've been a debt-free company. But the focus has not been on bottom line, the focus has been on people and serving people. And if you adhere to that philosophy, God will bless it, as He's blessed Premier, and it's amazing what's been accomplished by using those biblical principles and moving in that direction.
What I love about coming out to the home office is every time you drive up under the porte-cochere, there's a fountain with the world sitting on top of the Bible, and it's inscribed with Luke 22:27, where Jesus said, "I'm among you as one who serves." Now, to put that into context, the disciples were arguing over who would be the greatest in heaven, and when He calmed them down, He said, "I'm among you as one who serves." Then He took a bowl of water and some towels, and He washed the disciples' feet. And that's just the principle. What I love is, for all these years, it's the principle that Premier's built on. These principles are not only true today, but they're going to be true 50 years from now. They're going to be true 1,000 years from now, because the Bible is true. It doesn't change. And enriching lives is the key, both to success in life and in business. So it's just been amazing to watch the reality of our philosophy and purpose in Premier and the impact that it has in the lives of people.
See, service is not what I can get from you. Service is what I can give to you. And I guarantee you, if you start giving it to them, you'll get it twice as much. That's just one of the basic principles that God says in there.
All of us in Premier, jewelers, builders, designers, diamonds, and executive directors, and our wonderful associates at the home office, we are all Premier. We all have the responsibility to listen in a personal way, giving our full attention. We all have the responsibility to speak in a Premier, personal way. And we in Premier should always serve others with that personal touch. This is what makes Premier Designs different, unique in the business world. We show that we care for that other person. It's really the golden rule, do unto others as you would have done to you. That's been around a long time.
One of the biblical principles that we have in Premier is service. And I know growing up, I saw my parents serve through taking meals to people and visiting people at hospitals. And I had an idea of what serving meant, but I'd never really understood until I had an opportunity through Premier to be a servant. And I'll never forget, I was at a home show and a lady walked in and she just looked so sad. She was hopeless. And I thought to myself, if I can just love on her enough tonight that she can smile and that she can see that it was worth her time to come out tonight because it gave her a little bit of hope, then I really wanted to do that. So I worked so hard. I threw out my best jokes, all my funny things that I do at my shows, and I just could not get any kind of even glimmer in her eye. And it finally ended up where everybody pretty much had left that evening, and she was just sitting there, and I went by and sat next to her on the sofa. And I just said, I just want to know if there's anything I can pray for you about, or if there's anything I can do to help you, because you just look like you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders. And she changed my life forever. She said, I was invited to this show and was excited about coming. And then I took my daughter to the doctor today, and she's 4, and I found out that she's got terminal cancer. And she's not going to make it. And I really didn't want to come to the show, but I thought I needed to have a break, and I just came. And she said, I've got to tell you, you encouraged me tonight just by loving on me and accepting me and making me forget all the reality that's in my life. And I went home and I went, wow, I don't have any problems. Owing money, whatever it is, I don't have any problems. And she really impacted me more than I probably impacted her, but that was really my first step at knowing what it means to serve others selflessly instead of thinking of myself first.
It means service, which is the underlying spirit of Premier Designs. Do you have a serving heart? Service is the path to blessing, so it's well worth to develop a serving heart.
We've got a tremendous responsibility to be sure people who are full of fear can find hope, even in all the despair that's happening in our country and in the world today. What an opportunity we have, not just to sell, but to serve.
Andy's never really been concerned about numbers. I mean, we've been in countless meetings with Andy and Joan, and he's never said, Greg, Melissa, how many shows have you done, Melissa? I mean, he's never asked her that. He's never asked us, well, how many did you sponsor last month? He'll say, how many lives have you touched? How's your downline? Tell me about your downline. Tell me about those people. But he wasn't into the numbers, which is totally opposite of what you would think a CEO of an amazing direct sales company would be. And now Premier is one of the most respected direct sales companies in America. Debt-free. How many companies are debt-free? Premier's had a debt-free policy since day one. And I'm pretty familiar with other direct sales companies, and there's a lot of great companies, great direct sales companies out there. But many times the focus is, what can I get for you, not what can I give to you. And Premier's built on the biblical principle of what can I give to you, not what can I get for you. And that is totally different than other direct sales companies.
The message from Andy has never changed. It's been the same since the beginning there, and I don't know that I would have ever known what a servant was had I not come into Premier and, as he says, been behonorized. But I think service in the home show is what makes the home show go. And we're serving everybody there, no matter what, and we try to train the other jewelers to, you're there as a servant.
In 1990, I joined the home office team, and Andy gave me directions to be there to talk to the jewelers, service the jewelers, to see what their needs are and service them. So that's what I did. And then I remember there was a little shortage in inventory that fall, and at one time we had thousands of back orders. I mean, over 20,000 back orders at one time. And we were worried about how to handle this. And the orders were going to be coming in, but they weren't going to be when we needed them. And so Andy agreed for us to give a gift certificate to each person who had a back order. And that cost the Premier thousands of dollars. And but it was another big point in showing Andy's heart for service. And he had very much ingrained that in the rest of us who were servicing the jewelers here at the office.
When Dad and Mom invited me over here to be the president, I would walk around the office and they would have the titles of departments like marketing services, information services, distribution services, financial services. Well, at first I thought that was a little weird. First I thought, it's a financial department, it's information technology, it's distribution center. No, in Premier, the focus of all of us is on the word service, and that's biblical service. That's service, truly expecting nothing in return for serving someone else. That's been my parents' heart. So when I come here, I don't just see it on the signs of the departments. You hear the voice of the customer service representatives, and you hear it in our marketing services team, that truly the heart of Premier has been focused and the light is shining on that word service. So the question I ask every time we make a decision here, it wasn't about whether we're going to serve somebody, it was about how do we best serve our jeweler. Anytime we would do something, the question on the table is, does this affect service to our jewelers? That is the most important philosophical principle that we can continue to pursue here at Premier, service.
Service has truly been the heart of what Premier is all about. And a lot of things will come and go, everything from maybe how we do our shows or how we do our invitations, or certainly the jewelry changes through the years, but really just the heart of what it's all about, that it's all about people and it's all about serving people. And I'm so thankful because of that basic principle. I believe that's what makes our company different, but it's also what makes our company incredibly strong. And things are going to always change. But if you keep those principles the same, that's when you know you have a company that will be around for generations to come.
That lady at that show may not buy any jewelry, but you can give her a dose of hope. And we've had so many lives who they're hopeless have now found that hope in our relationship.
Everyone needs hope. We hope for good health. We hope for income. We hope to raise a family. Hope for friends. Oh, we hope for so many things, don't we? They can be found in and through Premier Designs, can't they? We don't know the future, of course, but we do know who holds the future. Some are lonely without family. Hope for them is the Premier family, who are waiting with open hearts. Premier offers hope.
Well, I joined Premier in 1988 in the middle of the oil bust in Houston, Texas. My husband's company, which we owned together, had to declare bankruptcy. We'd always had perfect credit, and we were in a bankruptcy with no cash flow, so we needed money when Premier came along. And that was my sole driving force. My first few years in Premier was pay off that bankruptcy. God's reputation was at stake, not ours. And as I kept making money, I kept meeting people who needed Premier as much as I did, you can imagine. And all of a sudden I had to tell them about Premier. Why don't you try it? It's great. And they're the people that are leaders in Premier today. And we paid off the bankruptcy in just a little over 4 years. All our creditors were amazed. They thought we kept promising to pay them, and we did pay them, thanks to Premier. But along the way, as we paid off the bankruptcy, look at the number of people who needed Premier as much as I did, and they came with me, and we're a family. Well, as Jack and I enjoyed the business more every month, we had one of those life experiences you don't expect. He was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. They don't have a cure for it. And he was to die within 7 years. But what was exciting with all this family and this team that we brought along with us as we built a Premier business, his body got worse, but he got more excited. He said, look at all these people that come to our little training meetings. They get bigger every week. So he enjoyed those last days with an illness that the doctor says cannot be cured. And we had plenty of help, had a full-time nurse that lived with us the last 2 years, and he led her to know Christ. And we just enjoyed the joy of not knowing what tomorrow holds. Because we knew no matter what happened in life, Premier would always be there. And so we could translate that through life experiences, that you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry. You can trust the God who's head of our company. I tell you, to see these gals looking so sparkly and cute and have not to be worried about all that credit card debt they brought into the business, and they're paying it off. And they're getting the house they'd always dreamed of. One of my biggest joys is going into the house they'd always dreamed of. And I stand there and cry. I'm just so excited. It's wonderful. The business made it. It's a dose of hope that you can really see. You can see that dose of hope when you walk in that house. Or go to visit on Parents' Weekend children who are going to a school they wanted always to go to, but they couldn't afford it. And now the parents can afford it. I see them building families that never would have been possible without Premier. And they were about as desperate as I was when we had a bankruptcy hanging over us with an empty nest. But they are sitting there, fresh off on a brand new life, new kiddos, new everything. I say, look what you can be, what you can have for your children. Oh, wow, what possibilities.
What people don't always realize is that Premier has this tremendous effect on thousands and thousands of people all around the world. It's not just about our jewelers. The Premier family extends beyond the borders of the United States. We have manufacturers and vendors that are not just located here in Texas. We also have vendors of ours up in the Northeast who have been vitally important to the founding of Premier, employing hundreds and thousands of people who build Premier jewelry. We have Premier Communication Services with its employees. We have great companies, UPS and FedEx, they love us, but we affect the economy of this great country. What our jewelers may or may not know is that they are affecting their lives. They're enriching their lives. They're employing them.
What an opportunity we have to be a part of enriching lives, not only in our own country, but around the world to those less fortunate than we are. Blessed opportunities.
Well, we give them an opportunity to come into an organization that wants to enrich every life. And what do you mean by enriching the life? Well, they add something to it.
The Lord just laid in my heart and said, you know, Andy, all these organizations are asking us to run the board. You are an entrepreneur. In fact, we've known each other since 1971. You are an entrepreneur. And I think the Lord wants you to be an entrepreneur for Jesus. And I think the Lord has woven your life together that you want to make money to give so that the Lord's work can advance.
From the very beginning, Andy talked about having a foundation to preserve these principles and philosophy of Premier to make sure that Premier Designs continued way beyond their lifetime. And in 1992, through much prayer, I can remember when they formed the Horner Premier Foundation. It's been in existence now for many years, and it has established in such a way that the principles and philosophy of Premier will continue, and it's enriched the lives of people all over the world. And not only that, has built auditoriums and camps and swimming pools and soccer fields, plus the support of many, many people in many countries of the world.
Andy had a passion for that. His daughter Sarah and his son-in-law were missionaries down in Bolivia, and Andy had seen the power of camping. And then my dad's organization through Judge Jordan down in Argentina, Andy and Joan were passionate about these incredible young people that wanted to bring the good news, this good news of grace and forgiveness, not religion, but really having this incredible Savior that rose again from the dead, to be able to give the young people of Argentina the opportunity to take that gospel throughout Latin America. As it turns out, the Lord has enabled them to open that, provide resources that we can do that around the world. So that little phrase, you need to be an entrepreneur for Jesus, was really powerful.
Our lives have been enriched.
My life has been enriched.
Our lives have been enriched.
My life has been enriched.
our lives have so been enriched.
What a dose of hope. Thank you, Andy and Joan. Thank you.
When I'm asked why should we trust Premier, or why should we have confidence in Premier, well, my initial answer, the first thing that comes to my mind is that because you should trust our founding principles, you should trust our philosophy, you should trust the fact that we have this biblical standard that we have to live up to, and it's a high one. But because of those standards, it has led to an extremely strong company, one that has no debt, one that is managed really well, one that not just says they care about their people, but they really strive to show it. One that has this spirit of family that all of us are part of. One that will always continue to have this extreme high priority of service. Not because we're manipulating people to do things for us, but because we believe that in serving, we in fact are enriching. And in serving, they will be blessed, and we will be in turn blessed. Many times when I'm speaking to a group, and I come to the end of the session, I want to remind them of what founded the company. I want to also remind them what we're going to continue to do, what we are committed to do. But Dad said it best at the end of his book. He says, we're going to keep sending you notes and giving you updates to express how much God loves you, how much we love you. We'll keep telling you in phone calls that God does have a marvelous plan for your life. We'll spend the hours needed to build a home office team, field marketing team, who are committed to our founding vision. Then he says, it's up to you. Then he says, it's up to me. Then he says, this commitment that we must continue these founding principles of service, enriching lives. We must be committed to that, all of us.
We'll be sure we hold on to our foundation principles and practices in the years ahead.
It is important that we never forget our philosophy, purpose, and plan.